We are live here, Justin.
Alrighty.
Yeah, all righty. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to another episode of Let's Talk. I'm your host, Jack, and today we have an incredible guest with us today, Justin Carmouche. Moosh. Uh, so when we get ready to call him Moosh from now on out, as opposed to Justin, I might use it interchangeably. Justin has been creating impactful short films and music since he was 14 years old, and has had the pleasure of working with legends like Samuel L. Jackson and Adam Sandler. Today, he's here to talk to us about an upcoming film, Alexandria. Before we dive in, we want to encourage you, everybody out there, to please share, comment. Moosh gonna probably be ready to answer some questions for y'all just in case. So if you just put them in the comments, when we get to a spot, we'll try to throw them in there. But yeah, if you could just share and help us spread, so we can just help keep the community as aware as we possibly can. Let's go ahead and get started there, Moosh. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
First off, I wanna thank you, Mr. Jack, for having us on, having me on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit about myself, like you said, you mentioned it, I've been doing this filmmaking journey since I was 14 years old. I really started when I was 13, with my iPod Touch. My
iPod
first,
Touch.
yes, sir, iPod Touch, and that's what really got me into it. But by the time I turned 14, I actually made my first full length, short film, which actually had a middle, a beginning, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I haven't stopped, and I've been grinding. I've worked in New Orleans. I worked in L.A. I worked in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in New York, and now I'm back home. So, and I'm back home not just for no reason. I'm back home to bring the knowledge that I've learned back to the city and spread it.
Okay. All right. You again, from 14, what inspired you to get into filmmaking?
Well, honestly, when I was 7 years old, I was in a musical. I went to Phoenix Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and when I started that musical, I was 7 years old, and really ever since that day, I knew what I wanted to do. It was entertain people at a high level, not just in front of the camera, but also behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And and I know it kind of sounds weird, but it was simple as that. It was kind of almost coded into me.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And when most of us run away from cameras, you was running to the camera, right?
Exactly, exactly. Trying to
Oh,
figure out how I can get on TV, and at a young age.
so mom or dad didn't have no problem getting Moosh to get on the stage and do anything.
Oh, no, no, no. Even back in the day, when I was 3 years old, when we look at all the old home footage of me, as
Uh-huh.
soon as the camera comes on, you notice me. I start working it, and that was a long time ago. I used to sing what I
Uh-huh.
learned at daycare. I would when the camera, my mom or dad put the camera on me. I'm singing what I learned,
Oh,
at
okay.
daycare. So
Man, I'm just the opposite. I was supposed to be in the back. I wasn't supposed to be doing what I'm doing right now. But I guess time say, hey, you might want to get in. So I'm gonna probably learn some stuff from you tonight on getting in front of this camera and things of that nature. Over the years when you worked with Samuel L. Jackson and Adam Sandler, How did these experiences influence your work? You know.
Well, they've influenced it tremendously. Number one, what it did for me is it showed me how real my goals were,
Uh-huh.
because some coming from Alexandria and you see somebody on television, once you see them actually at their job and you realize, okay, this they wake up and this is what they did. When just the way same way we see everybody wake up doing this, doing that, they're waking up and they're just going act. So seeing Samuel Jackson act at it, I was just 17 years old when I worked with Mr. Jackson. So
Mm-hmm.
that changed the whole trajectory of my life, because it shaped my mindset into, okay, this man looks just like my grandpa, my uncle. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? The only thing is difference is that he stuck to the craft, he learned it, and he
Mm-hmm.
never stopped.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Uh, about the film Alexandria, it's set here in Alexandria. Why did you choose Alexandria as this location, and how is Alexandria influencing this story?
Well, the reason I chose Alexandria is because, being born and raised in Alexandria, it has a very special place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And also I wanted to not it wasn't selfish, because as a filmmaker, the best filmmakers don't have selfish intentions. They're not just making passion projects. They're making things that they feel like people will want to see as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to keep your customer, your supporters, your followers happy, and you want to make them satisfied. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Alexandria is something that everybody in Sin Law and really the whole state is something that they wanted. And that was one of the main reasons that inspired me. Spike Lee, which is one of my biggest inspirations.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of films in Brooklyn, and that's where he grew up. And
Mm-hmm.
that was one of my biggest inspirations. Is that right there, as well as the film Atlanta. I mean ATL with Ti.
Okay. All right. Kind of you know this turf because you grew up in it, and so you can talk about it. Can you tell us a little bit more about this protagonist, Fortune, and the journey and his journey in this film? And you
Man,
use protagonist. All right. Talk to us a little bit about that.
yeah, Fortune. It's funny because his name's Fortune, but he
Mm-hmm.
goes through a series of unfortunate events. Through the
Mm-hmm.
film.
Mm-hmm.
So Fortune is just like your average guy. But the thing is that he's born in a small town with a big dream. So that's the conflict right there. And
Mm.
Fortune's whole goal is
We kind of lost Justin. Hopefully he'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and keep this one live for a few seconds and see if we can get him back here. We lost the entire feed on it. Hopefully he'll be back in here shortly. I'm going to take this time while we're waiting on Justin to get back over here. All right, he's on his way back in, getting his camera orientated. I'm going to bring him back in.
sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, look, it's this new technology we use, man. So hey, the cool thing about it though, our audience is used to they're used to they're used to sometimes being interrupted, data
Okay.
streams and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. Okay.
So we were
Uh,
on Fortune, telling us a little bit about him.
right. 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 So Fortune, he's a guy with big dreams in a small city. So that's the main thing that he has to deal with is growing up in a place where when you start to talk about these big things and these big dreams, people look at you like you're crazy or you're just you're tripping. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
what are you talking about? Like they just laugh. So
Hmm.
that's the thing that Fortune deals with is growing up in a community where there's not a lot of people. doing what he wants to do for a living.
Hmm.
There's nobody as a matter of fact, there's nobody in his
Hmm.
community doing it. But that doesn't stop him, you know.
Okay. The film itself, it deals with the things like aspiration, community, redemption. What message do you hope the audience take away from it?
I really want the audience to take away from it that Alexandria is a beautiful place, and that um that this city is something that has birthed a lot of greatness,
True.
and it's something that we as a people shouldn't feel like we should get away from because other places are better.
Hmm.
But we should look at Alexandria like it's equivalent to any major city or any place that has been marketed to us to be a better place.
The film itself touches on topics, the lack of hope, and we've lost Justin again. Oh, there
Okay.
you go. All right. The film touches on issues such as lack of hope and direction. There, Justin. How do these themes manifest in the story and the characters?
Well, like I spoke on the last question, a lot of the lack of hope comes from the community aspect of it not being how many opportunities as a young man would like or a young woman
Hmm.
would like. Um, when you live in a city like LA or even somewhere like New Orleans, like
Hmm.
my personal experience, not the character of Fortune, but my personal experience, I had to go to college at Loyola University in New Orleans, and the only reason I went there is because that was the closest place to home where I knew they were shooting movies every day. They allowed me to get into where I could fit in on these sets, and that's where I really got a lot of the connections made. That's where I got the opportunity to work with the Sandlers.
Hmm.
So it's really about that, it really is.
Now, you're touching on it. I'm gonna try to get you to drill down into it a little bit more because I think as do a lot of us, we think that the city itself has tons of potential, um, and we see it as a significant number of the people in our city, in our community, just don't have those opportunities, are just not there. And that's the reality. And and a lot of other negative things come in and get in the way. um how do you think, how does Alexandria address the community's lack of trust? um and I know we had kind of talked about the idea, but there's a big disconnect between millennials and the older community in the city. And I've had the opportunity to, over the last year, to sit and listen to some high schoolers talk about, their concerns. But since you're a little bit, a little removed from the high school environment, what's your thoughts about the disconnect between the older, the more mature folk and the younger folk? Because when I'm talking to a lot of them, they feel that hopelessness. They feel, you know, there is no light at the end of the tunnel. They feel like nobody can relate to them, and they just feel disconnected. A lot of young folk get connected into that iPhone, that Droid, or whatever. What's your thoughts about that?
You know, honestly, I don't have I don't have the best answer for that one
Hmm.
because like being a filmmaker, you know, I notice things, but I also know that there's always a lot of sides to every story.
Mm, okay.
So it's complicated. You know what I mean? It really is a complicated situation, but I think it starts with open dialogue, you
Okay.
know, and fostering a community that of togetherness, that whether there's workshops, whether there's meetups, whether there's forums, whatever it is, just fostering some type of community and fostering some type of um organization to whatever type of goal. wants to get accomplished.
I will say, as a young brother, that's a very wise statement, because, believe it or not, I concur with that 100%. That lack of communication is driving a ton of things. All the way down from the jargon to, we just don't believe that the younger generation have any input. The younger generation thinking that the older generation don't know what the heck they living in this false sense of hope out here. But yeah, that communication. So that's really important. That's one of the reasons why we do what we do. Believe it or not, my background into trying to solve what problems is said, hey, we didn't communicate in our community, and let's see if we can do something to bridge that gap. And that's where we kind of got that idea of UrbanCast, and trying to figure out a way to communicate with everybody and give everybody
Right.
an opportunity. So I
Right.
said, good answer. You say you didn't have anything to think about, but I
Hey,
did.
hey, hey.
What challenges do you think individuals like Fortune face in the real life? How does your film shed light on these issues?
It sheds light on the issues of not believing in somebody that's right next to you. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of times right next to us we have this person trying to be they want to open their own restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
This other person, they may want to be on TV. The other person may want to invent a whole new type of car.
Mm-hmm.
But since they're from Alexandria and nobody's done it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like the belief doesn't come until the you start to see the house. You start to see the structure in the house. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
That's the whole thing. Is if somebody tells you they want to build a house and they believe they can build it, believe them and try to help them build it rather than wait till the foundation is up and then come running try to stay the night.
Yeah. The soundtrack of Alexandria features music from the local area. How important was it for you to incorporate local music into the project?
Man, it meant everything to me.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke about it earlier. You asked me why did I choose Alexandria, and this was another one of the reasons is because I wanted to put a spotlight on my
Mm-hmm.
community because I've traveled like we spoke about, and I've met all of these talented people, and I finally realized what the real secret was is
Mm-hmm.
that they're no more special than I am, you are, Mr. Jack, or the people that we all grew up with.
That's right.
These people may have not pursued comedy, but
Mm-hmm.
the funniest people I know are from Alexandria. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and that's really what it is.
All right, all right. Um, you've written and directed, produced, and even acted in Alexandria, and acting in Alexandria. How do you balance these multiple roles? Uh, you know, and what was the most challenging aspect for you um, in this whole project so far?
Balancing it has its days that it gets tough, but honestly, the directing side of it and the acting side of it, it's not really hard to balance for me. It kind of comes natural as I don't really separate it, if that
Seven
makes
years old.
sense.
I don't mean to cut you off, but 7 years old, and you weren't
Right.
afraid. You just fall in it just right. I hear. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good, you good. And it's just like when I when I say action or when Andrew shout out to Andrew as well
Oh
from
yeah,
On
yeah,
One
yeah.
Films.
Uh huh.
He did the food truck documentary and the Lauren
Right.
Vaughn documentary.
Mhm.
Uh Man, he's so great at what he does, and working with him has been, a blessing. So I didn't have to do as much as necessary because I had a guy like Andrew on set who
Mhm.
could, if I needed some direction, he would give it to me.
Mhm.
But even if it was Andrew or me calling action, every time that action I hear action, it's just I just lock in. So it's like it wasn't really hard to do both. But the
Mhm.
biggest challenge that we faced so far is trying to create something that looks like it was $1 million budget with a, you know what I'm saying, with a
But
lower budget than the
uh,
average Hollywood movies are. But
uh,
with today's technology,
right.
we are able to succeed at this. It just takes time and perfection and execution.
All right. Well, it's interesting that you say that about Andrew. But one of the things I had an opportunity to go to that to the release of the food truck documentary over in the Pineville area, and it was interesting to see all of the guys in the art world all came out and supported one another. It wasn't no competition. Your
Right.
Kells were there, Andrew. I'm pretty sure you probably were just somewhere else, but you would have been there.
Yeah, I
But I
was in
mean, it
LA.
was just so many folk out there that night, to come and cheer Andrew on and all that kind of good stuff. And I thought that, that was a sign of the community coming together, and it was a sign of, here are a couple of guys in the same guild, the same clique, the same everything, as opposed to them fighting each other. They over there cheering the other one on with their project that they're working on. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, and see, that's the difference, that makes the city, makes or breaks the city, I should say, because fostering, that's the type of community I was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
fostering and to nurture in this community, because that's the only way we really can accomplish these major goals that we want to accomplish, is by collaborating and not competing.
Right, 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 right. And well, a lot of people, you got a lot of folk, and I don't knock it. I was a sciencey person. You know what I mean? But one of
Hmm.
the things that I've learned on this journey is that I think it's the arts where we're going to really get a ton of leadership, and how to get along, because music, drawing, the whole work, those things are very universal.
Right.
Sometimes you can just keep your mouth shut and you can tell a whole dang old story, and that kind of thing. And and you just see so many projects where you see kids coming from the inner city, and they putting music together, and they pick up on it just like this, and they putting a whole piece together. And I think, I don't think we put enough emphasis on the arts, and
Right.
I really don't, and that's coming from a science person, so you know what I mean. So what I say to all of y'all that's listening to it right now, y'all keep pushing. We talking about, some of us talking about STEM. Y'all talk about the arts and bring it into the equation, because I think it's going to be a big part of the solution to what's going on right now. What is the most rewarding part of what you've been, you know right now, with everything that you've done and about to do? What's the most rewarding part?
Man, it, it's gotta be. Um, I give another shout out to Didi.
Hmm.
Uh, is a young guy who's super talented. Andrew actually connected me with Didi, and Didi is one of our production assistants on set. He's
Hmm.
also our behind the scenes photographer.
Hmm.
And he also does a little C cam work. He operates cameras as well.
Hmm.
So Didi, man, he told me, and he told me something that really changed me, and
Hmm.
it affected me, because he said that, working on his movie set was just as one of the best days of his life.
Mm.
And I told Sean Sangani a similar thing. Sean Sangani is the film producer who did Class Rank, when that was filmed at Bolton a few years ago. He's
Hmm.
a very well known Hollywood producer. Birthed it right out of Sin Law as well. He went to
Hmm.
Bolton.
Hmm.
Um, I told Sean something similar, and when I worked on Class Rank when I was 15, uh, Sean brought that movie to Alexandria to inspire the city and to do something big for the city. And what that did for me, when I realized I was able to, that it's always been my dream to do that. To do that, what
Hmm.
he did for me, for other people, plant that seed, show them it's real, and
Hmm.
that's really what this. That has to be the best thing out of all of this. It can't be the money. Even
Hmm.
if we go and win Oscars, I would still put on the pedestal the fact that I gave people an opportunity to do something that they wanted to do, But if the only way they could have did it is get out of here.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
and bringing a film set to Alexandria is has to be the best feeling for me. Is to be able to foster a community and give opportunities for people to prove themselves
Hmm.
and to prove to the world that they are talented, that they are worthy of being in this industry. You know.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see you guys over at DJ Chalk's football camp over at Ash the on Friday. And just to see all the young men and women out there on the field practicing, and it was so interesting to see the little babies, the younger ones, all the way on one end, and the older kids on the other, and they all doing push-ups. It was so organized and all of that kind of good stuff, and to see
Right.
you out there right in it, just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get out here and do some filming as well." I thought that was just really, 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 really cool.
Wait,
Um,
but before you keep going, we're actually just to let you guys know, let everybody know, we're working on here's a little exclusive news. We're actually working on a DJ Chart documentary. That's why I was out there.
hmm
And so that will be coming out as well soon. And so
hmm
everybody can finally, learn the true story of DJ Chark and one of the most successful people to ever make it out of Alexandria.
hmm
So
and humble too, man.
very humble.
Yeah,
Very humble.
very humble young brother, and so you know, we interviewed him we interviewed him once, his sister as well, and I got an opportunity to talk to him a little bit in person while we were out there, and just to see his everyday kind of demeanor. It was nothing. If I would have been walking along the street, you wouldn't know this is a guy,
Oh
a
no.
wide receiver for the right here, talking to him and that kind of thing. But I thought that was really, really cool to be in person. And the one thing that DJ talked about was when as I was doing research on him, he talked about mental health
Right.
specifically with black men and things of that nature. And I asked him, I said, hey DJ, I think I want to do an interview with you on this because this is a subject that we really need to be talking about.
It is.
And his statement to me was, anytime, just let my sister know. So,
Right. 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 Now
yeah.
I went to high school with DJ for about 1 year.
Uh-huh.
And man, that's why I gotta give my hats off to DJ Chark, because that's one guy who everybody can learn something from, because he's the same guy that I used to talk to in the hallways,
Mm-hmm.
same humble guy. He
Mm-hmm.
never let his success or accolades get to his head,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that we everybody can admire.
Oh yeah, yeah. You really can. You definitely get that feeling from him. That's for sure. Nothing pretentious or anything. Just down to earth kind of little brother.
Right, right.
Love, bro. Yep, 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 yep. What are your future plans, man? After the release of Alexandria, are there any other upcoming projects that well, you just hit on one, the one working with DJ?
Mhm.
What's next?
Well, we also I also have Solomon Northup documentary that's also will be coming out soon. It's going to explore in Marksville.
Mm-hmm.
They're building a statue,
Mm-hmm.
and they're planning to put it outside the courthouse, where he actually was freed at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's another project that I'm very interested in sharing with everybody, so people can see what's going on with that. And after Alexandria, of course, we're gonna have the soundtrack. But after we release Alexandria,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to keep them coming. The plan is to I'm here to not make Alexandria then go back to LA. I'm here to make Alexandria first, to do it like this is how we're going to pop everything off. But
Mm-hmm.
this is something that is a part of a 10-year plan, to where we foster a community, because 50 Cent is right down the road now.
That's
That's
right.
a game changer. You
Yeah,
know,
right up in Shreveport, right?
game changer. So the thing is, if we had a crew that was down here who knew how to work, there's no way in the world I know that people would start doing things down here. But the problem is that we don't have the community, and that's the long term goal here. Really, after this project and going on to the next one, is keeping them coming and keep building name of our city until people look at us like they look at Shreveport or New Orleans, as one of those cities that they make movies in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I appreciate number one, definitely you sharing the insights about Alexandria and all of that kind of good stuff. Anything, anything that I didn't cover that you want to talk about?
Um, I know, like a lot of people, and I know I haven't really seen everything, but I've been getting a lot of phone calls about a lot of people on Facebook are talking about the film, because, and I just wanted to let people know, clear up a few things, that the whole purpose of the film is to really to bring us all together, every neighborhood, you know, every person in Alexandria. This movie is to bring us together, and
Mm-hmm.
not to. It's not a negative movie. It's a
Mm-hmm.
positive movie that is going to, and at least I hope, do something positive for the community that allows us to come together. And in the film, Fortune's girlfriend is actually named Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's a double meaning to the name. It's about Fortune having a big dream, growing up in a small city called Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
That's also dangerous, but it's also his girl whose name is Alexandria. And I just really wanted to pay homage in the film to everybody in the community, from all neighborhoods. And I really want the film to be something that big people look back on and be like, Alexandria is not what it needs to be, but it's not bad. But let's start healing it together. Well, the things that are wrong
Mm-hmm.
about the community, let's start fixing those things together. Let's come together and fix them rather than just sit here and talk about it. That is the problem.
So that is such a good thing there, Justin. I tell you, just I think I sent you a message right before we got on, and I told you I was working on an article, and and it's particularly troubling because you know a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in our community, the community is so small until you know you know both sides of the equation that things that are happening, and of the families themselves, and they're good people, and and their kids are have been raised up together and things of that nature, and somehow or another they become adults, and it goes away from what their parents were really about, and to see you working on something to bridge that gap, to say, hey, hey, X, Y, y'all, let's come to the table, as opposed to the fiefdoms and the fights and all of that kind of good stuff. Let's come and have this conversation. I applaud you guys 100%. On that,
Thank you.
and it's good to know that you guys are the ones. It's coming from the babies, and for all practical purposes, the young folk, and
Hmm.
and I think, as you and I were talking the other day, I meant every single word I said. When I said you guys are in control right now, y'all just don't know it. I firmly believe it. All you gotta do is get out there and go look at the pew. The Generation X's, y'all don't need us no more. The millennials got it all by themselves. Now
Hmm.
the question becomes, Justin, whether the millennials gonna say, "Hey, this is ours," and it's time for us to start taking our rightful spot. That's the question. You know what I mean? I know we talk about a lot of times go out and vote, but we got to go out and vote with a mission. We got to go and vote and say, hey, we want these certain things out of it. We just don't. We ain't gonna just go vote you in and say, hey, you're gonna take care of it. We're gonna come and check and see if you're taking care of it. Because if you're not, we need to just go ahead and get the next person in here and keep
Right.
moving. Y'all have
Right.
that power, brother. We no longer have it. I mean, y'all are the most powerful voting bloc in the country. Now, I just want to see y'all take ownership of that. and change and start to change this stuff.
Hmm. No, I definitely agree. I agree.
Yeah, man, that's it. You got the spirit, so keep that spirit going.
Yes,
And,
sir.
and make some changes on it because y'all are in control. I'm sorry, we
And
might be
that,
we might be fooling y'all and talking y'all down and saying that, oh no, you ain't in control. We're lying to you. I'm telling you, we're lying to you. But you're not gonna hear that coming from me. I can
right.
assure you that.
Another thing I did want to speak on too is
Hmm.
the movie. A lot of people I've been getting into calling me or asking me like they think it's this serious film, like this
Hmm.
dramatic thing, but in reality, this is the Friday that was shot in Alexandria. You know what I mean? And we have amazing cast. We have Corey with the K, who is phenomenal on camera. He's so funny. His
Hmm.
comedic timing is perfect. And then we also have a newer actor named Bobby.
Hmm.
But he's a very, very known person around here. And the comedy in it, if you like Friday,
Hmm.
you know, you're gonna like Alexandria.
You gonna
And
like
it's
it?
it's, it's just how Craig, if you like watching Craig and Day Day sit on the porch, you're gonna like watching this movie.
Okay, all right. So it's gonna be a little humor in it and all that kind of good stuff. All of it, all wrapped up into it. Well,
Oh yeah.
like I say, hey, you guys see, you guys have a lot of direction, and your direction is going in the right way.
Thank you.
Yep. Well, Justin, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Your passion, your dedication to your craft, it's truly inspiring to see, this passion coming out of a young person. And not to say that it can't be, but it's truly inspiring. So keep up the good work, man.
Thank you.
We can't wait to see Alexandria and experience the powerful story you've brought to life. To our audience, I definitely want to say thank you guys for tuning in today. Be sure to share the interview to help spread the word about this impactful film. And a big thank you to our advertising partners, Sadler's Towing, Long's Preferred Products, National Tire and Auto, Math Makes Sense. And again, uh, a lot of times people say, hey, how can I help? The one thing you could do for us is to, help us get the word out. And we promise to just bring you the facts. It's going to be the good, the bad, the ugly. But at the end of the day, what we want to do is see that we're not where we were yesterday, and we're moving forward. Um, so until next time, I want everybody to stay hopeful and let's keep supporting one another. And y'all have a great evening. Oh, by the way, on tomorrow night, before I get out of here, Justin, tomorrow night I'm going to be interviewing attorney Thomas Davenport. He's going to be talking about uh, some litigation, some complaints that he actually sent in dealing with the utility crisis in the community. So Justin, I go from one thing, I go from the arts, and I go on over to the other side. But for those of you guys who are just jumping in, if you want to hear some of the things that Attorney Davenport has got to say about this, the utility issues, tomorrow we're going to be discussing it with him. Again, we hope everybody have a great evening. Justin, if you got any last words before I get ready to close, go ahead, man.
Man, I just want to, thank everybody who tuned in. I want to thank you again, Mr. Jack, for having me on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank, everybody who so far has helped me bring this vision to life, because I know I might be on this platform right now, but really it should be an army behind me, because I might be the leader, but I'm nothing without my team. I'm nothing without my crew. I'm nothing without my cast. And if it wasn't for them, none of this would be happening. It would just be something that's still in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to shout out to everybody who's been on set, everybody who's, even if you just helping pick up lights, grabbing them, and also, I want to shout out to everybody in Alexandria, black, white, all races, all neighborhoods. And I just want to say, you live in a beautiful place, and do not let marketing or advertising from another city ever make you think that where you are isn't special, and that God put us here for a reason, and that the most important thing is community.
That's right.
So once you realize that, I think life becomes a little bit better for you internally. So go out there, help the next person to you. If somebody has a dream, somebody has a goal, help them when if they ask, and let's just always be there for each other, man. That's what I got to say.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, I want to say good night to everybody. If y'all have any questions, Moose, nobody didn't throw no questions at you. They just said congratulations, proud of you, and all that kind of good stuff, bro. So we're gonna go ahead and end this stream. We can just hang in there right quick out.
All right.